Considering a special order, should we accept the special order or should we reject it? Differential analysis, incremental analysis, and business cases. We'll cover all those briefly. An offer to buy some of your product or your services, typically at a discounted price, has to be either accepted or rejected. When we get that kind of a special order, we're going to apply differential analysis, and then we're going to consider the strategic implications. That is, how would that choice, based on the differential analysis, how would that choice fit with the organization's strategy? That is, so we're going to start with the differential analysis, and then we'll perhaps expand that analysis to a business case. A business case being a complete analysis of the impact of the proposed change on the organization's structure, its processes, its products, including its financial and non-financial metrics. We're going to include an assessment of business risk and implementation concerns, and we're going to, in a business case, examine the sensitivity of the considered course of action to changes in the underlying assumptions. Now, our decision principle in considering a special order is, in the short run, prices should meet or exceed incremental costs. Prices should meet or exceed incremental cost. Oftentimes, we estimate incremental cost in the short run by using variable cost. So the decision principle in the short run, prices should meet or exceed incremental cost unless there's some strategic implications that indicate otherwise. So let's look at a particular example. Cojonix Industry manufactures pasta machines. The accountant of the company provides a cost structure for each pasta machine as follows. We've got variable manufacturing cost of $90. We've got fixed manufacturing cost of $65. That's computed below $130,000 for the year. Estimated 2,000 units produced for the year. That comes to $65 per unit of fixed manufacturing cost. The regular price for each of the pasta machines is $200. But somebody has come to us, in this case a regional restaurant chain, wants to buy 150 of those, and they've offered to pay $115 a piece, a significant discount from our regular price of $200. Now, if we accept this offer, Cojonix is also responsible for a one-time shipping fee of $950. And what they've given us here is an assumption: marketing, administrative, total fixed costs, and regular sales are not affected by the decision. These characteristics are why we would call this a special order. It's special in the sense that marketing cost, administrative cost, total fixed cost, and all of our regular sales are not affected by the decision. In practice, sometimes the sales price to one customer affects the sales price to another customer. In this case, there's no effect of that, and so we've got a special order. Now, they've given us one other fact here. Cojonix has enough idle capacity to handle the order. So they've got some idle capacity. They can produce these additional 150 units without modifying their capacity. So our challenge is to determine if Cojonix should accept the special order. Now, so what we're going to do is we're going to use differential analysis. We use differential analysis for a wide range of things. In this case, pricing, sometimes production. I guess you could argue that this is a little bit of production, a little bit of pricing, a whole lot of different reasons why we use differential analysis. With differential analysis, we're going to focus on the differences or the changes in the performance factors between the alternatives. In this case, the alternative is to accept the order at that price or to reject the order at that price. And so we've got two alternatives. What we want to do is compare the revenues between the two alternatives and the expenses or the cost between the two alternatives. Sometimes we refer to differential analysis as incremental analysis. You'll see some authors will talk about incremental analysis, particularly if the comparisons between the status quo and something different. Sometimes we'll refer to that as incremental analysis. Oftentimes it's like this is an incremental set of production. So I've got my baseline production. I can do this additional production, and I could call it an incremental analysis. The more general term is differential analysis. Now, a challenge with differential analysis is it can't be too focused on short-term perspective to the exclusion of a longer-term perspective. And the other potential short-term, potential shortcoming of a short-term analysis, it can be too narrow. So we're going to do our differential analysis, and we know that it could be risky because it's not long enough in time horizon considerations, but it also could be too narrow in terms of its considerations. The way they've defined the special order, they've kind of laid those concerns to the side with this last paragraph describing the situations. If we do a differential analysis and assumptions like those don't hold, then what we need to do is actually to prepare a business case. And with the business case, we can bring in those other factors. Now, when we consider this special order, I put a star beside fixed manufacturing costs because the fixed manufacturing costs by definition don't change with more or less quantity produced. Those fixed manufacturing costs, in this case the $65 per unit per pasta machine, are irrelevant to the decision. So we're going to ignore the fixed manufacturing costs because they're going to be the same regardless of whether we accept the offer or whether we reject the offer. Either way, we got two alternatives. Fixed manufacturing costs are going to be the same. Therefore, the $65 is irrelevant. So we're going to take the revenues from the special order at $115 times 150 units. $115 at 150 units is $17,250 more if we accept the offer than if we reject the offer. The variable manufacturing cost is the $90 per unit times 150 units. And so that's an additional $13,500 in cost. If we accept the offer, then we have this one-time shipping cost of $950. If I do my arithmetic, that I come up with a positive $2,800. Accepting the offer increases operating profit by $2,800. And that tells me that my differential analysis would indicate that I should accept the offer.